What just happened between Canada and the United States could send shockwaves through the housing market, construction industry, and even your monthly expenses. In a move that stunned Washington insiders, Canada has hit back with record lumber pricing pressure at the worst possible time for the U.S. economy. And tonight, policymakers in D.C. are scrambling behind closed doors trying to contain the fallout. This isn't just another trade dispute. This is a high stakes economic showdown that could reshape North American supply chains overnight. For years, lumber has been at the center of tension between the U.S. and Canada. American builders depend heavily on Canadian softwood imports to keep housing affordable and projects on schedule. But now, with prices surging to record territory, the pressure is building fast. Contractors are warning of delays. Developers are recalculating budgets, and homebuyers could soon feel the squeeze in ways they never expected. At the heart of this clash is a long-running softwood lumber dispute. The United States has repeatedly accused Canada of unfairly subsidizing its lumber industry, while Canada argues its pricing system reflects natural resource management and provincial policies. Tariffs have come and gone over the years, but the tension has never truly disappeared. Now, that simmering conflict appears to be boiling over again. Industry analysts say the timing couldn't be worse. The U.S. housing market is already dealing with elevated interest rates, supply shortages, and affordability challenges. Lumber is a foundational material for home construction, from framing to flooring. When lumber prices spike, the ripple effect spreads quickly. Even a moderate increase can add thousands of dollars to the cost of building a single home. Sources familiar with trade discussions suggest Canadian producers are leveraging strong global demand and constrained supply to maintain higher pricing power. Wildfire seasons, transportation bottlenecks, and reduced harvesting quotas have tightened supply. Meanwhile, rebuilding efforts in storm-affected U.S. regions are driving fresh demand. The imbalance has pushed prices sharply upward. In Washington, lawmakers are under pressure from multiple directions. U.S. lumber producers are pushing for stronger enforcement and potentially higher duties.
Home builders and real estate groups, however, are urging the administration to ease trade barriers and negotiate a settlement to prevent further price shocks. The White House faces a delicate balancing act: protect domestic industry or protect consumers from rising housing costs. Canadian officials, for their part, maintain that their industry operates within international trade rules. They argue that American tariffs distort the market and ultimately hurt U.S. consumers. In previous rounds of negotiations, Canada has sought long-term stability agreements rather than short-term tariff battles. But so far, durable solutions have proven elusive. Market reaction has been swift. Futures contracts for lumber have climbed sharply, and investors are watching closely for signs of escalation. Construction stocks have shown volatility as traders weigh potential margin pressure. Some analysts warn that if pricing remains elevated for months, it could slow new housing starts significantly. Broader economic implications are also worth watching. Housing construction contributes substantially to U.S. GDP and job creation. A slowdown in building activity doesn't just affect developers. It impacts suppliers, transport companies, appliance manufacturers, and local labor markets. In short, lumber pricing isn't a niche issue. It's a national economic lever. There's also a political dimension. With economic concerns already front and center for voters, any spike in housing costs can quickly become a campaign issue. Lawmakers from both parties are likely to face tough questions about why North American trade partners can't find common ground after decades of integration under agreements like USMCA. Trade experts say the next few weeks will be critical. If Washington chooses to escalate with additional duties, Canada could respond with countermeasures targeting key American exports. That kind of tit-for-tat escalation risks widening the dispute beyond lumber. On the other hand, urgent negotiations could pave the way for a temporary stabilization deal. Home builders are urging calm but preparing contingency plans. Some are exploring alternative materials such as steel framing, though those options come with their own cost structures. Others are looking to diversify suppliers, but scaling new supply chains takes time, and time is something the housing market may not have. For everyday Americans, the concern is simple. Will this make buying or renovating a home more expensive? Size. The likely answer, at least in the short term, is yes.
Even if you're not building a house from scratch, lumber prices influence renovation projects, decks, fences, and commercial construction. Price pressure at the wholesale level eventually filters down to retail. Meanwhile, Canadian producers appear confident in their global positioning. Strong demand from Asia and limited North American inventory have given them leverage. Some analysts argue this pricing surge reflects broader structural supply constraints rather than purely political maneuvering. Still, the optics of record lumber prices during a sensitive economic moment amplify tensions. Washington officials are reportedly engaging in back-channel conversations aimed at de-escalation. Whether those talks produce results remains to be seen. One thing is clear: this is more than just wood and nails. It's about trade power, economic resilience, and the balance of influence between two deeply interconnected economies. The outcome of this dispute could determine whether housing affordability stabilizes or faces another round of pressure. So as markets react and negotiators meet behind closed doors, the question remains: curious, will cooler heads prevail, or are we witnessing the start of a renewed North American trade battle? Stay tuned, because the next move from Ottawa or Washington could change the housing landscape faster than anyone expects.